Morning. Hi guys, how are you? This is a little bit strange for me because I'm supposed to be looking at the lens and I keep looking at the screen, but I'll try my best to focus. Anyways, how are you? Good morning whenever it is that you are seeing this video. I'm just about to film a video about what it means for us as pharmacists with the new immigration rules that has just come out, and I thought I'll take you guys along with me to make a cup of tea and then we'll jump straight into the video. Also in this video I'll be talking about a new webinar on Pharmacist Evolve, so stay tuned to find out all about the webinar, the video, the immigration laws, all of that good stuff. So let's talk. From the 1st of July 2025, the UK has released new immigration rules. And whilst this affects majorly care workers and, carers, this also has an impact on pharmacists. I'm not an immigration lawyer. I'm not an immigration expert. I am bringing this information to you based off of reading the rules by myself and also having experienced going through the immigration system. So I was here on a tier 4 visa as a student. I switched to another tier 4 visa and then switched to a tier 2 visa and switched to another tier 2 visa and another one until I got my indefinite leave to remain. So all of these processes, I definitely had a few failures in that process. There were times when my visas got declined. True story. Which is why I feel like having the right information helps. Also, I'm just going to let you know that you probably need to go and read this document by yourself, just so you can at least understand for yourself what it means for you. You might see something that I don't point out. You might see something that stands out differently for you and your particular situation. So please make sure you have a read of it yourself. If you need to, contact an immigration expert, an immigration lawyer that will be able to give you more information. And lastly, please don't panic. Based off of reading it, my summary of opinion is that it is not the end of the world. There's going to be a way for someone out there, for most people out there. Now it might mean that people who are looking to come into the country might have newer restrictions. However, follow me on this video and I'm just going to give you a bit more insight into my thoughts about all of this and what I would advise you to do as a pharmacist who is on a visa, a skilled worker visa, or looking to switch to a skilled worker visa. I'm looking down at my laptop just to make sure I don't get any figures wrong. So yeah, the first thing we're going to talk about is the skill level threshold has now been raised to RQF level 6. What does this mean for pharmacists? So automatically this means that we are safe, okay? It means we're okay because any pharmacist anywhere in the world is already trained at a bare minimum to RQF level 6, which is equivalent to a bachelor's degree. Usually most pharmacists have a master's or a doctoral degree. I'm not going to ramble on in this video, so we're going to go straight on to the next point, which is the higher salary threshold. Now this is where it gets a little bit trickier for us as pharmacists, right? The higher salary threshold means that pharmacists might need to be looking for, speaking to their employers or looking for jobs that increase their salaries if they're already lowballing themselves or if they've already started or the lower end of the scale and have to apply for a new visa anytime soon. So again, this only applies to the point where you need to apply for a new visa. If you're already on a visa and you've already passed the requirements, you don't need any of these anymore, please sit back and relax. You don't need to worry yourself. However, at the point where you need to apply for a new visa or switch to another visa, say for example from a tier 4 into a tier 2, so people who are doing OSPAP into foundation training, you would need to now consider what these rules mean for you. So the new salary threshold for skilled workers is gone from 38,700 to 41,700. This is done to reflect the cost of living that's now happening and also to ensure that employers are not exploiting people. I think this is fair enough, as some of us overseas pharmacists tend to kind of lowball ourselves, which is something I'm trying to push and fight us not to, because overall we're putting all of the pharmacy professionals out there at a detriment if we keep doing this. Okay, so at a minimum you would need to be earning 41,700 as a pharmacist who needs a tier 2 visa. So at the point of application, your employer's certificate of sponsorship needs to reflect a minimum of 41,700, and I believe that a lot of pharmacists already earn above this figure, so it's not nothing to worry about for you. However, we're going to be looking at foundation trainee pharmacists and entry level pharmacists, so people who are going from foundation trainee into their first year of practice. So for foundation trainee pharmacists, based on my experience, you are not classed as a pharmacist yet. So according to the Home Office rules, you will be classed as a new entrant, or as they class you as like a graduate level entry, and usually you would have a different salary threshold. So they haven't expressly stated that this has changed for pharmacists yet. However, there is a new shortage occupation list coming into force, and this might include foundation trainee pharmacists. And what that means is that the new salary for new entrants will be increased to 33,400. So whilst this is good because you'll be earning more money, which means that you will have a better standard of living, I guess, the only thing is how many employers will be willing to sponsor on this amount. The good news is that community pharmacists are always looking for people, especially if you're free and you're flexible and you're willing to travel, to outskirts and not try to be centralized towards London or anywhere near London. You will most likely find an employer who is willing to pay you at that amount for your foundation trainee year. So employers now need to go away and start reviewing their books, reviewing their figures, and trying to see if it is worth offering this much. And you need to also know that GPHC actually pays foundation trainee pharmacists a huge chunk of the money they're getting paid. Employers only supplement it to kind of bring it up to the threshold at least, which is why somehow foundation trainees are classed as free labor. All right, so at this point maybe they're just telling employers, get it together, pay these people some more money and give them what they deserve. I understand it might mean that people find it more difficult to find jobs. However, where there is a will, there is a way. It's not impossible, okay? If you're not aware already, I've got Pharmacist Evolve that I'm building and, trying to grow to try and see if we can support overseas pharmacists to find their foot in the UK system and thrive right from the beginning of their journeys. I am taking and honing from my own personal experience and the experience of others that I have trained and spoken to over the years to see if we can bolster all of you guys up so that by the end of it all you're feeling happy, fulfilled, empowered, not feeling lost, not feeling confused. A lot of all of this can contribute to mental health problems as well. So if you have somewhere where you can speak to people, or you have somewhere where you can relate to people, you have somewhere where you can get information, I feel like it does a world of good to improve your journey. So please, if you're not following Pharmacist Evolve on Instagram, please go ahead and jump on our Instagram page. However, a website launch will be coming up soon, and I would hope to do a YouTube video to talk about the website once it is live. Don't forget that I also actually have a coaching program which I believe the applications have now closed for the next cohort. So if you want to know when the next cohort is going to drop, go on Instagram and follow as well, because that's where most of my information goes out first. YouTube is long form, like I said, so it might be a bit difficult for me to get on YouTube a lot of the time. However, let's get back to what we're talking about. That was quite a digression. So the next thing we'll be talking about is dependence. So I've actually had a few people reach out to me to find out, are we affected? Are we allowed to bring dependents? What happens to our dependents at this point? So nothing has been expressly stated to say that pharmacists will no longer be allowed to bring dependents. So as it stands, pharmacists are still allowed to bring their dependents, okay? The only thing is that if pharmacists do get added to the new shortage occupation list, which is a temporary list, which means that they'll be closing it at some point, This new short occupation list actually restricts dependents. So again, everybody, eyes open, ears open, find out what the new information says as soon as it comes out so we know how it affects us. I would endeavor to do so myself so I can come and give you guys more information. So yeah, for now, dependents are not restricted. You are absolutely okay to bring your dependents. What I would say is that if you can fast track your process, fast track it, because you don't know what things are going to look like again in about a year's time. So if things are still favorable for you now, move quickly, move swiftly, okay? Then the next thing is the closing of the care worker route. That does not really affect us. Care workers are now no longer allowed to be hired from overseas, and that will be ending on the 22nd of July. So all of these rules that have now been listed so far are going to be enforced on the 22nd of July. So again, you have another 2 weeks to get things sorted. If you already have a certificate of sponsorship that does not reflect the new salary threshold, but you don't care to, do the gruesome work of going to pursue bigger salaries, put in your applications as soon as you can. They mean it when they mean the 22nd of July, because after that date, there will be no concessions, there will be no pleas, there will be no sorries, there will be no I forgot, there will be no it was a mistake. All right. And lastly, this is something that they're still proposing, but it hasn't come into force yet, is that the ILR route will now be changing from 5 years onto 10 years. This is basically a summary of all of what I believe might affect us as pharmacists. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I have a link in my bio on Instagram, and I will be leaving it under this video. If you need to book a discovery call, a free 15-minute call just to chat about your situation and see what's the best way to approach things as they affect you, I'm willing to sit down and speak and just see if I can support you through any of it. But yeah, that's on immigration. Whew, yeah, it's a lot, and I have been through it. Okay guys, I have been through it, and believe it or not, I have been through visa denials. Okay, I've been through visa denials. I've been through the anxiety of not knowing if I will be able to make it to get a new visa. I've been through the anxiety of not being sure if the immigration rules affect me or not, because believe it or not, things have been changing for years now, and it's just literally been dynamic. So you just need to go with the flow and just pray and hope for the best. If you are meant to be here, things are going to work out for you anyway. So please try not to be anxious. The Bible says, be anxious for nothing, but in all things with prayer and supplication make your requests known to God. Okay, now the next thing I want to talk about in this video, I'm going to close my laptop because that's the end of that, is that I am having a webinar coming up in the next week or so. I'll leave the dates on the screen. However, I'm going to leave a link in the bio. So this webinar is targeted at people who are now coming freshly into the workforce. So people who have completed their foundation training and are now coming into the workforce as pharmacists. I want us to start off on the right foot. It's a free webinar that will teach you about how to record and how to document your successes and your achievements, how to speak up for yourself in rooms that matter and where they matter, and in a way that it would be received, so that you do not end up shooting yourself in the foot like I did in my first few years of practice, working so hard and having nothing to show for it, to a point where I wasn't able to fight for myself, where the opportunity came up for me to fight for myself. So yes, if you are interested in this webinar, it's going to be a webinar that aims to just boost your morale, help you, give you some tools that you can take into your first few years of practice. Okay, so please check the link in bio, and hopefully I will see you at the webinar. Oh, I can't believe I made it through another YouTube videos. I will give myself a pat on the back right now. I've not eaten anything. It's like lunchtime now. But yeah, thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. Leave a thumbs up, encourage me. I need to know that people are actually here that need these YouTube videos. Please just do something nice in the comments, whatever it is, if you're feeling led to encourage me. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in another video. Bye.